assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Yep. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready. Yep.
All right, so with WrestleMania about a month away, both main events have now been established, and Raw is heavily focused around CM Punk and Roman Reigns. The last time we saw Roman Reigns before this past Monday was 2 weeks ago, where CM Punk basically said that he's going to bury him next to his father, who passed away last year just before WrestleMania. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype going into this past Monday Night Raw, and you didn't know what was going to happen with Jimmy and Jay. There was great storytelling, and that's the one thing that WWE has been doing really, really good when it comes to this CM Punk and Roman Reigns storyline. They have a history. It's not one of those things where they kind of throw two guys in the ring with each other, whether it be history on screen, but mainly off screen. I think if you know, you know. It's one of those things, but they do bring it up in their first promo together where Roman Reigns brought up that CM Punk went on his friend's podcast. Things that you didn't expect them to bring up, they did. And I think that's what made people very, very interested and very, very intrigued in this match in general. The promo on Monday, for me, it was lacking something. And I know the whole comment with CM Punk saying he's going to bury Roman Reigns next to his dad. It kind of came out of left field. And it was one of those things that it didn't match with what they were kind of talking about in the promo. They were kind of talking about how Roman Reigns relies on the bloodline, how CM Punk is just kind of out of his element when it comes to like a main event spot. You have CM Punk talking about how Roman Reigns is a part-timer. So with all that being said, I didn't really see where you're going to bury you next to your dead dad kind of came in there, but it did leave people in like in a shock and like an awe, and they kind of built off that into the week after. So with this past Monday, the promo, I was really expecting Roman Reigns to kind of do something in return, kind of give him a taste of his own medicine. And I feel like everything was really laid out there on the table for him. You can talk about Punk's family, with his very dysfunctional family, which he has been open about in past interviews. Most recently, Punk's dog died. So I think everyone really thought that was going to be the route that Roman Reigns was going to go down. CM Punk, I feel like, won this part this week when it comes to their promo battle. And the coldest line, I feel like, in the whole thing was when they were talking about the real name, the government name, that I could call you Joe, but then that would be disrespecting a real Samoan that I love very much. Just a great moment in general, knowing the history between Punk and Joe, and then the history between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe as well. This promo was really capped off by Roman Reigns trying to get under CM Punk's skin. I think that was the story they're kind of building around, where Roman Reigns was kind of throwing things at Punk, and things that were like, both the guys have said things that have been said a million times about being part-timers, about like his wife. Roman Reigns brought up being like, go talk to your wife or whatever, and you could tell on CM Punk's face, he kind of had that look where it's like, is this all you really have? Like, if this was 10 years ago, I could have, probably bury him, honestly. Craziest thing after all that stuff being said, and even CM Punk talking about how he has thick skin, he doesn't get offended what people say. And the one thing that triggered him, that trigger word for CM Punk, was him getting called old by Roman Reigns. And it obviously triggered him. He punched him in the mouth. Roman Reigns laughed. And he was like, that's all? You kind of had like, that's all it took was for me to call you old to get like a reaction out of you. And I thought it was very confusing, considering that after all that was said, it was just a simple 3-letter word that got CM Punk to snap. I had to actually look it up because sometimes I forget how old both these guys really are. CM Punk is pushing 50. He's about 47. Roman Reigns is 40 years old. So he's about 4 or 5 years older than I am. And I think a lot of people forget that CM Punk left for 10 years. So in my mind, CM Punk is still that young, maybe not young, but like that guy who's kind of in his prime still and on top of the world. But I think fans forget that he took 10 years away from wrestling. And basically his whole 30s were him sitting on the sidelines, where in those 10 years, Roman Reigns established himself. So in my mind, I'm like, they're about the same age. But there is about 7 years difference between the two. And I think when you put it in perspective like that, you remember that, yeah, CM Punk is really, he's pushing 50. He is on, I don't want to say the twilight of his career, but he's definitely closer to the end than he is the beginning. And just a lot of things has changed. He's not that young rebel, what's that word, like counter anti-corporate, anti-establishment, just like Stone Cold Steve Austin was, and that's where a lot of the comparisons came. But to me, Punk is still youthful. Punk still has that it factor when it comes to being a top guy. And when you compare CM Punk to AEW to WWE, there is a night and day difference. And I remember there was a picture that came out a little after he returned at Survivor Series a couple years ago, and you would see how refreshed and just how good Punk looked compared to his last few months in AEW. And I think him jumping ship, as much as I hated it, as much as I feel like Punk could have done so much for AEW, it needed to happen. I think it's for his health and I think for his sanity. Him leaving AEW was probably the best thing that could have happened to him. He took WWE to another level, and I know all the anti CM Punk guys don't want to admit it, but he did something that could have never been done in AEW, and he just needed that WWE platform to do it. But again, to bring it back to the promo, for for the whole old thing to be the trigger word, I think going forward now, Roman Reigns knows this is the word. This is what I have to do. So the next few week build up, I think Roman Reigns is supposed to be at Raw next week as well, and it's like everything that like Roman Reigns can throw at him. Be like, you're old Phil. You can't keep up with me. You're younger than me, or sorry, I'm younger than you. Your dog is dead because he was old. Like just anything that can trigger Punk now with being called old is, I feel that's the direction they should go. And I'm sure there's going to be some sort of swerve. I'm sure the Usos are going to get involved. And you kind of built it up, the physicality. And I feel like more than likely you're going to get a triple power bomb through a table next week. And it's going to be great. And I think now WrestleMania season, things are heating up pretty well, considering now you got Oba and Brock Lesnar confirmed. You have Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes confirmed. And I think this Mania, again, is going to be one of those WrestleManias where going into it, people are going to be on the fence, but I think the match quality, and I think everyone's going to bust their ass, and it's going to be one of those dark horse WrestleManias to be one of the greats. So let me know what you think of the whole CM Punk and Roman Reigns storyline, and I'll see you guys in the next video.